Hello and welcome to the special series on bullying and ragging. The menace of bullying and ragging is pretty much on the rise in spite of guidelines being there, in spite of the law being there. Maybe this is only due to the lack of awareness that children have and sometimes even adults. So welcome to the show. I'm Lottie Alaric. So we'll be taking this forward today as we'll be specifically talking about victims of bullying. So to tell us more on the issue, I have in the studio two ladies, and I'm very happy to welcome Ms. Saima Nafis Khan, who's a psychologist at the Mulchand Hospital, New Delhi. So I welcome you to the show.
Thank you.
Sitting next to her is Mrs. Sudha Acharya, who's the principal of ITL Public School, Dwarka, New Delhi. I welcome you too.
Thank you.
Well, Saima, let me just begin with you. Over the years and in your experience, direct experience with the children of various schools, do you think that an issue like this is mainly, there's still a lot of lack of awareness among the students, first of all?
Yes, because they don't understand that they are either the bully or they are the victim of bullying.
Right.
And somewhere if we have to differentiate between a bully or the victim, they are somewhere the same in manners of their personality. And they're still facing this problem and they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to overcome their own personal issues. So it comes more from their personality. So they are going through a lot of personality issues, because of which either they are becoming a bully or they are becoming a victim, which somewhere we fail to see.
That's right. As adults, you mean to say. Okay. So Sudha, would you agree with that? Because teachers, if we really look at their training, they are trained to pick up students like these or children like these. But somewhere down the line, these trainings are only a part of their, it's just one of the modules when they are doing either their B.Eds or their M.Eds and what have you. And I really don't know that how many refresher courses are really being conducted for teachers for them to know that how must they deal with children of today. So do you think that there is also a big lacuna there?
Yeah, it is there, but now of late we have started training our teachers, sensitizing our teachers. Even CBSE is giving us mandatory training program. I believe that a teacher should know your child concept is very important. You have to know your child. You have to come down to the level of the child and see the strength and weakness, and teacher have to, keep their ear and eyes open all the time. So to identify a victim is very, very important. I believe that the bully is himself or herself may be a victim of aggression. Most of the time when I do investigate as a principal, I find out sometimes this is the case. The child is being bullied somewhere else and he's taking out his frustration on others. So it is basically power imbalance.
That's what you feel.
It happens.
Maybe a victim at home and a bully at school.
Yes.
So you can even see it that way.
So Saima, does it also mean that the kind of backgrounds that children come from, or the kind of units that children come from, whether it is a family which is a joint family or it's a nuclear family, does that also have a bearing on the child's personality?
Of course. Overprotective parent, if you see, they have a lot of impact because they are indulging into everything with their child's, their social relationship, they're indulging in everywhere, or a neglectful parenting, or if there is a violence in the parenting. So like she was saying that the teachers are being sensitized. In fact, the teacher and the parent relationship needs to be also worked upon, because a bond needs to be created, because they need to understand the child's personality at home as compared to a child's personality at school, wherein you can understand the discrepancies and you can work on it.
Right. So Sudha, in your opinion, what do you think really should be done? Say once you identify a person who is a bully, first of all, then the kind of investigation that you're just talking about, is it very difficult to go across to these children, specifically if they are, say, in a little older age group of, say, maybe class 9 or 10 or 11, because little ones, maybe it's a bit easier to deal with them, but does it become difficult? Is challenging?
Just before coming here, I have dealt with a bully case. Just before coming to this program, is a class 12 child who has no past experience of being bullied or being a bully. So a group of students told him that you have to get crackers to the school. He's a very submissive child, very good in studies and all. So a group of students, to be accepted by that peer group, he got those crackers, and then he was trying to do something. So when we catch hold of them, so I called him to my room. Being a bully or a victim, you have to deal with them very, very sensitively.
That's true.
because I mean publicly you cannot deal with them. So bullies also, 3 boys were there. I called them and I called their parents also, because they are equally stakeholders.
Right.
I have my school counselor, so no point of giving them punishment, instead reforming them.
Absolutely.
And this child also, we called the parent and we told him, as if now in the school you are protected, but when you pass out from the school you are open to the world. So somebody may tell you to do something, will you do that? So he was being bullied there, that you have to get crackers. And most of the time, I'll tell you one thing, there are some ringleaders whom you will never suspect that they can do.
Right.
Even teachers also, they don't suspect that these students can be involved. So what they have done, these 3 students thought that they will never be suspected. And this child is very, very nice, good in academics. So no teacher would think about him that he can do such a thing. So they have caught hold of him and they are at the background and telling this child to do something which is not accepted. And this child is really, he was very apologetic and he said, I have done a wrong thing.
Right. Well, most cases I don't think they would really realize that easily, but if they do, that's great then. Okay, now talking about the kind of people that these bullies would target, now there are certain vulnerable groups.
Yes.
So these are the children that the other bullies would target. So Saima, would you say that a person's personality has a lot to do with it, whether he or she can get bullied or not?
Of course. Like a personality who can bully, likewise a personality can be bullied.
Correct.
So these people would be more, the victims would be more insecure. They would be, you would see, like when you see a bully who would be all over aggressive, you know, nagging everybody around and telling and bossing around, these will be very secluded.
Right.
You will see them as loners, being a very private people, maybe few friends, they're sitting with them.
They cry easily.
Very emotional. And the problem, as you this incident that we just heard from ma'am, that the boy showed the lack of problem solving.
Life skills.
The life skills, that he was not able to resolve the problem there and then. The social skills, the social resolution of how to resolve my problem in my social circle was very minimal. He didn't have the support of where to gain the support from. Who are the people that I can gain support? I don't feel that I am good enough to take responsibility of my own actions. I can't handle it on my own. So there is a lot of low self-esteem that they will go through. And they would, on every step that they are taking in, they will feel that, you know what, I can't do it. Maybe I will not be able to do it. Maybe they are weaker in the physical aspect, or maybe they are weaker in their emotions.
Correct. So Sudha, then I'm sure this becomes all the more challenging for teachers, because a child like that who's quiet and who cries easily, so they may not even be able to establish whether this child is being bullied at all or not. So for these cases, I mean, what must teachers really do?
Yeah, they have to identify the victims. That is most challenging part. But mostly out of experience now, I have observed they can be bullied on the basis of their religion, their physical appearance, or name calling kind of thing, or very easily, I mean, if a child is plump, moti, short in height, chotu, body image, or you know, chinkies, northeastern side, these are so common now. So we
these
have
are the
to
kind of terms that they would
sensitize,
use.
And a child who sits alone in the class, Saima correctly pointed out, or a child who sits during the recess or break, they generally would like to sit alone in the class, or to be with an adult, with the teacher, so that they will not be bullied.
Protected.
There are so many symptoms when you can find out suddenly the grades are declining. Today I got a student who was topper once in class 11th. Now he has scored in essay 1 all single digit marks. So I was very surprised. The child is very good. So somewhere something is happening to him. Today I rang up the
that
parents.
Investigation must follow in a case like this.
And he has come out from home and has not reached school. So tomorrow I'm going to investigate that. Something is happening with the child. You will find the child's grade will decline and very confused, clumsy, not focused. These are the, I mean, not interested to go to school most of the time. Eating habits, disorder you will find out, traumatic, nightmares, would not be able to sleep properly. So these are few victims. If teachers and parents are careful, easily we can find out.
Right. Also, Saima, I'm sure you'll be able to elaborate on this more. Sometimes when certain children are doing really well, their grades are up and they are high achievers. Now, these could also sometimes become victims of bullying because, is that right?
Because they are minimum in number. They are 1 or 2 or 3, and they always find, because there is groupism in school, if you see.
Right.
So there would be popular group, there were studious group, so there would be some girls who would be together, so they will give terms to every groups that they will label themselves. They will have those labels for themselves in being the group. So of course this academic high groups, so the bully all happens in terms of notes. You have to give us notes.
Right.
You have to because they are scoring high. So the teachers are praising only them. We've been the ones who've been scolded all the time.
True.
So here I can't display it to my teacher. I can't say anything. So here the displacement of anger comes to those children. So unnecessary name calling or hitting them or aggression, any form of aggression, they would be the victim of that.
Right. So in such a case, I think, as she said, because sometimes even among teachers, it becomes a habit with them to brand children,
Labeling children. This is very common.
Yeah, the ones who are naughty, they are all the time turned by all the teachers as naughty, so they feel that they are good for nothing. And so all the more reason for them to resent the high achievers. So what do you think the teachers must do here?
They have to pay individual attention. There is no other way out. Today's classroom is a challenge, really. It is a diverse classroom. Some of the students will be from like so-called EWS, some of them are very bright, some of them are average, from different social and socio-economic background. So that's what my main point is, know your child. That has to be. I have developed a format, like for the class teacher is the mother teacher, school is the second home. So she has to find out, she should know in and out of her children in the classroom.
Right.
Then only you can come down and study the emotional, social and emotional intelligences which the teacher should read out.
Right. Well, folks, it's time for us to slip into a very short break, but what we've learned now is this, that the teachers should be able to identify those red flags, and instead of branding, let's just start praising the children, because that's really required, and not just the ones who are high achievers, but even the others, because they could be very good in certain other things, even if they are not very good at scoring high grades. So do think about it. While we slip into a break, we'll see you on the other side. Do come back quickly. Welcome back. Victims of bullying is what we are talking about. Here we have a principal with us, and we also have a psychologist who are trying to tell us as to who are the kind of people or the kind of personalities that can turn around to be bullies in schools, and how must one really deal with them. So good parenting is one part of it, but also the understanding by the teachers is another. So let's just take our children a little more seriously than we really do, because childhood itself can be very stressing for certain children. Again, talking about the personality types, Saima, these children who are bullied, not all of them will come up and complain, because if they do, then maybe they stand all the more chance of being bullied by the ones who are maybe stronger. So what do you suggest here? What must, because even for schools, these are not easy things to do. And sometimes there may be just one counselor for a school which has, say, about 3,000 students. So how should one go about dealing with problems like this?
So as you said, that the communication level is very low. Because anyways they're suppressing their emotions, so they don't want to speak about what they're feeling. So in this case, we need to understand from their home environment how they're behaving at home. Are they same at home? Is the communication level at home very low? Because if you try to initiate the communication at school, it would not work if it is very low at home.
Correct.
Because you're doing some remedies here, but it goes back to square one when you go back home. Because here I'm teaching you need to be assertive, you need to stand, but I'm going back here, I'm getting again bullied by my parents. And I've been, I'm seeing my parents indulgent into everything, and I've been told that this is what you need to do, this is what. So decision making is very low for me. So if the child is feeling that I can't take my own decisions, my decisions are being taken by the people around me, so then the child would still stay in the low self-esteem. So home environment needs to be targeted. That's very important. If you're seeing your child complaining about that he doesn't want to go home or she doesn't want to go school, and she's been troubled by or he's been troubled by a group of kids in the school, so then you need to look into your parenting also, that what is not going right at home. What is the nature that if it is a single child, if it is with the siblings, how they are behaving with each other. So it's very important to understand the home environment, and teachers and the counselor needs to work with the parent in tandem with them, because if they don't work, then you do a work here, because they're only here for few hours. The more time that they're spending is with the parents. The parents need to know what is the strategies being taken up, and they need to be a part of the team to encourage the child to be assertive, to open up, to express.
Right. You want to add anything to that, Sudha?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the victims, once you identify, you need to counsel them. And then when counseling is going on, you have to find out what is the reason behind it. I mean, why the child is so behaving like this. Most of the time we find that at home, parents, most of the time unknowingly, I mean, they talk to each other, the way they behave. Especially for the senior class, I can tell you, you have to do science. I mean, they don't have any independence. Most of the time we try to compare our children with others. Your cousin sister has got 95%. I know a child who got 93%, yet he could not get any positive reinforcement at home because cousin, brother and sisters, they have scored 98%.
I wish children would turn around and ask their parents that, please show us your report cards. How many marks did you really get?
Report cards. And I told once parents that if your child comes and tell his or her own mother that my friend's mother is looking very attractive, my friend's father has a very good job and a nice bungalow and luxury car, and starts comparing with other parents, would you like it? No. But most of the time parents keep on comparing our children. Basically bullying, I have found out that this is in our social fabric itself, at home. Even you see the relationship between mother-in-law, daughter-in-law we talk about, or father talking to mother in a way.
In what manner they are actually associating with each other.
Conversing with each other. So the child gets that. One 3-year-old child coming to our pre-primary wing and saying the teacher that I'll kill you, I'll break this chair, like that. So we were really very surprised. How come these vocabularies are coming into
because they are active learning or passive learning.
So she's learning all this vocabulary. My brother said me that I'll leave you in jungle. This kind of conversation is going in their home. So that's what all the stakeholders, they have to sit together in the school. Then only you can.
True. So Saima, also these days, because of the high competitions that are there, the cutthroat competition, so parents are always judgmental about everything. They only want grades. They want the child to perform the best in every which curricular activity and what have you. But somehow parents never say that it's okay to, if your grades are falling once in a while, it's okay to feel a bit low sometimes, because I think these are the cases which sometimes can lead even to suicides later on because of the high expectations of the parents. So for the sake of the parents, would you really want to say something on this?
They are in a conflict between the ideal child and the real child. So they are not able to come in terms with the real child. So the expectations needs to be again re-looked into, re-evaluated according to the child's level, the caliber, the skills, what he has, and then take up the expectations with the child. And for I always tell the parents when they come that if you criticize your child, then for one criticism at least give 5 praises. So it needs to be balanced by 5 praises at least for one criticism, because you need to look at the positives than on that one critique that you have looked into. So learn to praise your child. Praise the other attributes of your child. The marks are not the things that will make him what he is.
True.
He needs to be a good human being. Values need to be given more emphasis to, as compared to only the digits that we get in the report card.
Absolutely, because they actually don't really mean much after a certain point, and we are all examples of that. So So Sudha, also because maybe the parents these days are indulging their children too much, you know, whether it is gadgets or what have you. So now they feel that because we've given you ABC mobile phone, or now we've given you ABC, you know, say other things in the house, so which means that now this must all translate into high grades. So somewhere there's a barter system that's really happening at home. So how does one expect these kind of children to be normal in the school?
Because actually nuclear family parents, they don't have any time. Both of them are working, so they think that children are easily getting iPad, mobile, smartphones, everything. And I'll talk a little bit about cyberbullying, which is
that's
on
a
the
huge
rise. Cyberbullying is at least children, they are not aware actually. I was conducting one assembly on cyberbullying, telling them you can be hunted down, tracked down. You know, so many renowned companies, when they employ, they try to find out your value system, your ethics, and whatever you have once written in the Facebook, some comments, texting something indecent, can be tracked down. And slowly CBSE is giving us guidelines and the rules are coming up. So children should be aware if some indecent comments or rumors spreading, especially there is gender parity. Don't think that girls do not bully. They also I have one girl about whom rumors spread like anything. So I went into the case, and then we found out everything went viral completely. So you can be defamed. There is a confession page. Every school, every principal knows. I mean, there is a confession page where rubbish things are written without understanding. Even as young as class 5-6 students are entering there. So we need to sensitize them that what you are writing, what you are doing, it will never be erased. And the laws are in place. So cyberbullying is on rise. So generally,
and
as
specifically
for
children,
I would like to sensitize.
And also for children who may not be able to come up front and say things about somebody or to somebody, maybe they are taking the recourse of these social networking sites. So again, Saima, do you think that the teacher's job is becoming pretty difficult now, particularly as far as cyberbullying really goes?
Yes, of course, because they have to handle every now and then, wherein cyber activity has also become a way of acceptance, wherein they need to gain acceptance from some way from their peer group, and all these things somewhere has an impact on their studies, on their as a personality at school, wherein the downfall also you will see in their academics or in their performance because of the cyberbullying. So it might not be evident in the school that nothing is going right, but maybe something at home on the windows, something is happening which is having an impact on the child's performance. So of course sensitization is very, very important, because then they will be, at least they will be open up to speak about that this is what is happening with me and I need help. Maybe they don't know because it's after school.
Exactly. So somehow even the school can say that, oh, this is not in our realm.
Yes, exactly.
Even the school can turn around and
sensitization will help the child to come up and say that this is what is happening after the school to me, and that's why this is what is, whatever the signs and symptoms that the teacher is seeing in his or her performance is because or the cause of it.
I mean, we need to empower our students very much. And student council body, like in my school, we have an anti-bullying cell. We have a wellness club that is taking care of mental health.
Oh, great.
Which is very new concept generally. So the student council body, they have anti-bullying cell, and they have got peer educators. So instead teachers preaching, if their own peer group go and they
that's very effective.
Yes, that's very effective. So we have to do empowering the young minds. That will go a long way.
I think peer education is something now which is probably being talked about, and I'm sure the results are positive. But again, these peers also have to be trained in a manner that they are able to put across, I mean, the right kind of information, because you never know, sometimes they may also get carried away and, you know, not really, and not deal with those things properly. So do you think, again, specific targeted training should be given to the peers who are later on going to become peers educators?
Train the trainer module, wherein you train them and then they train their juniors, and then it keeps going on. It's a cycle wherein you keep training the other people, and those people then train the others. So they are empowering. So empowerment is spreading all over. It's not only the few people.
True. Also, I think, my mind goes to things like these, that these days, in terms of activities, what are children really doing? They're either going to school or they're going to these coaching centers. And the third thing is they have these gadgets through which they are in a virtual world all the time. So which means that when we talk of activities, why is it that activities are only these few? There's nothing like some kind of social, proper, practical, socially useful, productive work. As we all were studying, we used to have SUPW classes. So we were going and doing things which were not really meant in your studies, but they had an impact on you as a personality, as a person, and what have you. So don't you think we need to go back in time a little?
Yes, we are doing a lot. Now schools are also doing CSR, social responsibility.
Right.
Like in Dwarka, we have adopted one area, Sector 14, Bharat Bihar.
Okay.
So we have adopted 40 girl children. Few families with disabled children, and we are taking care of them. We have created a library corner. We bring those children to our school and then give them training in music, dance, sports, wherever. And then we tell them to perform in our events, and we call their parents to see also. So that's a long way. I mean, our children are involved. Each one teach one.
Right.
So they're doing that.
Right. Though that's understandable, where they learn some skills and they go and perform. But why is it that we can't teach our children to probably just clean the windows sometime and be rewarded for it? Maybe from the school or from maybe the mother can do it or whatever. Why can't they go and mow the garden? Why can't they do things like these? But somehow the schools or even the parents have no focus on these kind of activities, because these are things which they tomorrow have to go and do in real life. So is anyone thinking about these, Saima?
Well, it's very less in number, but yes, it is growing, because now life skills programs has also been initiated in schools, wherein we go and initiate and talk about life skills, different life skills, and make them act and do activities on a life skill. So life skills would be from love, decision making, to simple topics that we'll pick up, and we'll do activities with them to understand the concept of that life skill, and which will make them understand, other than sports or gardening or any other things, their life skills is also very important aspect. That a child should understand acceptance towards each other, wherein they are name calling or because of a child is because of from a different religion or name calling of different reasons. That will only stop when we will bring in acceptance towards each other, in terms of religion, in terms of culture, in terms of differences within each other.
Right. Well, on that note, let me just say thank you to both of you for coming today and for talking about this issue with me as well as with my viewers.
Thank you.
Well, I do hope, folks, that you must have benefited from this discussion today. And what I can say at the end is that parenting as well as teaching needs to undergo a huge change. We need to target these children differently. We need to see them differently. And the most important thing would be to involve them in decision making, as one of them said. Let them be a part of decision making in households. So whether you are finalizing on an equipment for the home or any other thing, why not take the child's consent too? Sometimes you may not like it, but even then, if you go with it, then the child feels important. And also understand that if you make them a part of those kind of activities, which are the activities of the real world, then probably you will have real children growing into real human beings. Otherwise, you may just have children who are very good with their gadgets and gizmos and nothing else, because their hearts have to be in the right place, their emotions have to be in the right place. Only then will we have responsible citizens in this country. So do remember that bullying is not an issue that can be brushed under the carpet. It has to be taken headlong and dealt with properly, because we don't want a nation of morons when they grow up. So do think about it, because very few people have children of their own, and when you do, take care of them really nicely, so that tomorrow you have responsible children over there. So thank you so much for watching. Catch us next week when we'll be taking up another issue on bullying and ragging. Till then, this is Lottie Alaric saying goodbye, and take very good care of your children.